Advanced English Arabic Learning Irregular Verbs, Session 14. Hear, heard, heard. I was thrilled to hear the news. He could hear the swish of a distant car. Be able to hear a pin drop. She could hear the occasional snort of a pony. He may hear a buzzing, whistling, whirring or humming sound. You should hear a hollow sound when the melon is thumped. Male crickets are able to make a high-pitched sound which humans cannot hear. I won't hear of such idiocy. Please hear me out. The stupid blockhead called Jesse something I never want to hear repeated again. All his shouting was to no avail, no one could hear him. Through the tiled walls she could hear the music pulsating. I hate bars where you can't hear yourself think. She was shocked to hear the frost in her brother's voice. Hear me out, I used to think that a family was a right. But it is not. It is a privilege and has to be earned. The faithful could hear the minister dilate on the role religion could play. He asked the judge to recuse himself from continuing to hear a case because of bias. Though they were speaking in undertones, she could hear them. I'm going to go to ask her and hear it straight from the horse's mouth. I heard two dogs snarl at each other. The magistrates heard a great deal of factual evidence. He heard the pad of feet, the soft dull sound of steady steps. We heard a splash and a squeal. He heard the trample of a soldier. He heard the toilet flush. She heard him grousing about his assistant. She heard a car door slam. She heard the crash of shattering glass as the vehicles collided. We heard the sound of an approaching car. I managed to restrain myself, but then I heard a suppressed giggle from the veranda. I heard utensils scrape against the kitchenware. I heard the Sunday sermons not once, but twice, likewise the prayers. He slammed the door shut and they heard the scrape of a key in the lock. He heard the familiar voice of his wife calling from upstairs. He heard the scrabble of claws behind him. She heard the Cambridge school bell utter a single toll. My mother would have a fit if she heard that. I heard a playback of one of the tapes. I heard what you said, but it took a while for it to sink in. We perked up when we heard the good news. I had lunch with Andy and heard it straight from the horse's mouth. I've never heard such a load of rubbish in all my puff. Most people have probably heard of the saying, is your glass half empty or half full? You could have heard a pin drop. It was the dog he'd heard the night before last. How could you have not heard about it? Do you live under a rock? The manager was heard to compliment the other team's good play. That is the most cockamamie plan I've ever heard. Our Heavenly Father has heard our prayers. Have you heard the news? Nobody had ever heard of my college. Hide, hid, hidden. She hides a shrewd business acumen. Neither side bothered to hide disdain for the opposition. To hide behind a veneer of irony. His hair was combed forward to hide a growing bald patch. She turned away to hide her discomfiture. She uses her sunny disposition to hide an inner loneliness and desire to belong. I can hide from the patrols, using ravines and deep gorges. He hid his pipe for fear of incurring his father's wrath. The miser hid his money in the house in various places. She finally made a clean breast of it and admitted that she had hid it. They hid the money away in secret bank accounts. The entrance gate was expertly hidden by a rock outcropping in the slope of the mountain. Hit! 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 The branch sprang back and hit him in the face. Hit the nail on the head. Every morning a wave of nausea hits me. A complete dud, incapable of even hitting the ball. I've got a busy day tomorrow, so I think I'll hit the sack. The car would hit the first dip, then slingshot off the second rise. Don't let the door hit you in the way out. I'm exhausted. Time to hit the hay, sack. Fat finger dialing errors, errors made by hitting the wrong key or button on a keyboard, keypad. A drive-by shooting is a form of hit-and-run tactic. The clawback will hit the incomes of some poor families especially hard. They hit me up pretty much every day. A tee is the small wooden support of which you hit a golf ball. Annie, hit me up if you're reading this. They finally hit the big time with their 6th album. He always tries to hit me up for money when we meet. He's been hitting up on heroin for years. The latest board game to hit the market. It took us ages to hit upon a solution. He was grounded for hitting her on the head. We sat waiting for the caffeine to hit. Agree to our demands, or we hit the bricks. She's been hitting up for years. It was still night when we hit the outskirts of London. I hit the road. The workers hit the pavement on Friday and haven't been back on the job since. The splinter from the broken glass hit her shin, leaving a gash. We hit the water with a mighty splash. He hit on a novel idea to solve his financial problems. The icy blast hit them means a strong gust of wind hit them. He hit the floor with a terrific thud. Someone hit me with cricket bat. They hit a bus head-on. They hit me up for money. She gasped as the cold water hit her flesh. When he hit the big time he left her and traded up. He choked up on the bat and hit the ball better. Some scientists say that the dinosaurs died out when a comet hit the Earth, become extinct. The Titanic went down after it hit an iceberg on its maiden voyage. The president hit back at his critics in a speech. They hit the sponsors for a lot of money. We hit it off immediately and became firm friends. I hit it off with her immediately. I suddenly hit on the solution. She hit on him at the party and they went back to her house. A beggar hit on me when I left the restaurant. The government hit out at the media for their negativity. He hit me with the details of their demands. The car hit the water and spun out. When he hit the big time he left her and traded up. A taxi driver has died after being hit by falling masonry. The police have hit a brick wall. The car was hit by the bus and the car skidded onto the pavement. A lot of people have hit me up actually about it. Dollars to donuts that the economy is going to be hit adversely due to fall in prices. She doubled over in pain after being hit in the stomach. He doubled up in pain after being hit in the stomach. The area has been badly hit by pit closures. If they're cops, maybe it's not a good idea to have them hit. Hurt, hurt, hurt. The detective was explaining to me how it's extremely difficult to restrain someone without hurting them. It does hurt at all when they are applied to the teeth. A cauliflower ear certainly hurts at first. It is the result of a blow to the ear. My back hurts. She didn't want to hurt his feelings. The ceiling fell in hurting a lot of people. The anesthetic wore off and my tooth started hurting. High interest rates are hurting the local economy. He dishes it out, but gets all hurt when anyone responds. It hurt that he hadn't been able to confide in me earlier. I tripped over and hurt my knee. It tears me apart to think I might have hurt her feelings. Several people were hurt in the melee, scuffle. The animal was badly hurt, so they finished it off. Inlay, inlaid, inlaid. To inlay a chest with lighter wood. To inlay marble in a tabletop. The carpenter inlaid the furniture with intricate designs. A sword inlaid with jewels. Mahogany paneling inlaid with rosewood. The lid of the box had been inlaid with silver. A small silver crown was inlaid in the wood. The box was inlaid with gold monograms. Columns supporting the roof were inlaid with elaborate. The white marble floors were inlaid in a radial pattern of brass. The end. Coming next. Session 15.